Howdy, everybody. I pray you had a wonderful week. I save a bunch of my shavings from several different projects, and I thought it would be really cool to dye them with this folk art. It's called Ultra Dye. I'll put a link in the description below for a shop in which you can get them at. You can get them at Michael's, Hobby Lobby. Not all stores carry all the colors, and not all stores carry the 8-ounce bottles either. And they're a lot cheaper to buy if you buy them in the 8-ounce bottles. So I'll put the link in the description below so you can check them out. I think there's 14 total colors, and then a clear varnish color that you can also purchase to go over top of the dyes. Anyways, I tossed the shavings in denatured alcohol and a couple tablespoons of the dye. It doesn't take much. This stuff is it's on the thick side, so it's easy to dilute and still get a really good color from it. So I tossed them around in the denatured alcohol and the dye, and I just set them out on a board in the sun to let it dry, and they dried really quickly. Later on, I went ahead, a couple days later from this, I cast the shavings in blue and gray, and unfortunately I accidentally deleted the footage of me casting this shave set, so I apologize for that. Unfortunately, sometimes it happens when you're filming multiple projects and trying to keep track of them all. It gets a little crazy at times. So I'm just cutting a 55 millimeter mortise with my drill press so I can get them mounted and turn a proper tenon. So I finally get to use my new 3/4 inch Sorby gouge on this project, and I made a little jig to fit in my Wolverine because this gouge is too big to fit in your regular jig, so I kind of made one out of wood. It's very temporary. It's nothing that's going to hold up forever, but just so I can get a fingernail grind on it because it came with more of like a crown, I guess you would call it. So was very happy about the fact that, okay, I'm getting these shavings finally instead of the chip out. I struggled for a very long time, and so I contacted Doug at Pole Barn, and him and I were kind of comparing the flutes on our gouges and kind of discovered that his flute on his gouge is a much wider, it's a wider flute. Gouges are measured by either their stock or by the gap of the flute. So I don't know why they measure that. There's not one standard way of measuring, but with my Irish grind, I would always get chip outness because it's a really aggressive tip. So it no matter how much I tried to, cut with it versus a shear scrape with it, I would get the resin would just explode on me. And I know I've had a lot of viewers asking me about that and them having the same issues. So what we kind of chalked it up to, or our theories, is that the flute is a much wider flute, so it isn't as aggressive, and it kind of acts as a negative rake scraper, I guess. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not a technical turner. I just observe, what it is that's happening and go by kind of experience. So the 3/4 is wide enough of a flute that that surface area that it's cutting on isn't as aggressive. It's not chipping away the resin. It was just cutting beautifully. I was so excited. It looks like I'm like trapped inside of a cotton candy machine. But I was happy to get that instead of those painful shards of glass. And so that'll be my go-to gouge for resin for now on. I also got a nifty handle on it. You can't see it in the video, but I did put a short clip at the very end of the video, so stick around to see the handle that I received from a viewer and how to possibly get one on your own. It's a beautiful handle, and I really appreciate it. Thank you, Mike. The colored shavings didn't show up as much as I had hoped, but I think they would have showed up more, the fact that they were blue, if I hadn't put so much color in this project. You get all these ideas, and then sometimes you're putting too many projects stacked on top of each other, and you're trying to try everything all at once. I'm sure a lot of you that have so many ideas can relate. And I should have just waited and used these shavings in a clear cast instead of putting it in with color, so they would stand out, and the fact that I dyed the shavings would be more noticeable. So I plan on trying this method again for a future project because I think it looks really cool. The shavings I actually got out of this piece I saved because the lines and everything that were in these shavings looked really neat with the resin. And I try to save my shavings if they're cool, they're unique, especially from dry wood, because I can always recast them, or if anything else, use them as a filler, so I'm not using so much resin. Just to give you some ideas there, because there's a lot of possibilities with that dye and dyeing the shavings and using shavings. So it's just so neat when you put a light in there and see all the different shapes and movement and everything that's going on in it, even though it's not something you're not going to put a light inside your shave dish just so you can see all that, but it still looks neat anyway to do it. I use the 2-to-1 slow set. I learned from my burrow project that the fast set works sometimes on some stuff because I've used it before and successfully, but for now on I think for finishes I'm just going to use the slow set, the 2-to-1 slow set as a finish because it doesn't set up too fast. The only downside to using, resin as a finish is having to wait. This project took me more than a week to complete because of just putting the finish on, waiting for that to set overnight, and then come out and turn it around and finish the rest of the piece. And I did a coating, an outside and inside coating for the bowl, the lid, and the shave handle. So something that I could have possibly gotten done all in one day by wet sanding, it took me, a week and a half. So for future projects, I'll probably save doing the resin coatings for solid wood pieces or wood with resin, so that way it seals the wood really good. And then just do wet sanding for resin pieces, which this did have some wood in it because of the shavings, but I don't feel it was enough to be concerned about the wet sanding process and the finish that the wet sanding would have given it. So I have a Cricut machine, which is one of those vinyl cutter machines, and I was able to get a Air Force logo and cut it out. And I cut 3 different sizes out just in case I wanted it smaller or bigger, and I just put one up there to see how it would look being that big. I'm cutting out a little indent so that way when I stick the vinyl down, I can just fill that in with resin, so it's kind of obviously protected in there. And I've had this idea for this particular project for a while, and I just had other projects going to where it took me to get to it. So I've had these things printed for a couple of weeks and was so excited to use them. And I think it's so neat. I got so many other ideas, and how well this worked out. And this process was a lot simpler than I thought it would be. That I'll probably do more pieces like this with my Cricut and utilize it a lot more. If you don't have a Cricut or whatever, you can always look for vinyl stickers on Etsy. There's a lot of shops on there that sell custom stickers as well. So the M2 taper that I'm using is part of a Ruth Niles off-center medallion jig. This M2 taper is also available on her website if you just want to buy it directly, or she also has some that screw onto the spindle, which is great. And I just tap it, and I can use it for multiple projects. And I think it's the same size as the bottle stopper mortise taper. So if you have that, that will also work for doing shave handle brushes. Just forewarn you, the resin really doesn't, at least my experience, resin does not like the tap. So it just, for some reason, doesn't want to tap like wood does. It's very different. So be patient with it. And I've had to several times refill the hole with resin and then do it again because it was messed up and it got crooked. The threads got crooked and it would just mount crooked. So I plan on possibly buying those pre-threaded little things that you just glue in there, and then it has something for you to attach to. It makes it so much easier and a less of a headache. And then when you put the brush in, you're filling it with resin anyway, so it all gets covered up, and you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to worry about your handle getting messed up when you're trying to tap it. I'll put links in the description below for the shave heads I use. No, they are synthetic and they're not real badger hair. Those are much more expensive, but I will still provide the information for you. These are really cool because they have gray, silver tops. I bought 2 different kinds, and I think that really went well with this gray and blue set. So I hope you all enjoyed. Thank you so much, Jeremy, for your service. You should be getting this in the mail in the next week. So y'all have a wonderful weekend. I pray you're blessed, and God bless. I want to send a special thanks to Mike, who made me this handle originally for my 3/4 inch Sorby bowl gouge. It fit perfectly, and I just recently ordered a new Carter & Sons, which I have not used yet, but it also fits perfectly into the handle. He made it to where this is an adapter, so if you have something larger you can fit in there, which is perfect. This handle is gorgeous. It's comfortable. It's a light enough weight, so it's not too heavy. The original handle I made for my 3/4 was just way too heavy. So he contacted me and said that he would make me one, and man, is it amazing. And what wonderful. It's dirty, and sorry, my floor is dirty. It's raining outside, so I can't go outside and do this video. He also made these live center attachments. One is just a edge that you can put whatever you want to on it, and this one has a cork, and he also sent an extra cork with it. It fits on my Laguna's live center attachment. I can't get this unscrewed right now, but it's maybe I can. Oh, maybe I can't. Anyways, that's what it looks like on the inside there. Beautiful, beautiful work. I mean, above and beyond. And I just truly appreciate you sending me this handle. I'll put the information for him to contact him if you'd like to purchase a handle or inquire about one. And the link to the description below. Sorry, it's raining, so it's noisy in here. But anyways, I'll make sure I get you guys that information so you can contact him for a handle of your own. He's quite a guy sending me this, and amazing work he does. So y'all go give him some love. Anyways, thank you so much. God bless.